Hi friends, welcome back to the channel. My name is Kristen and this is Growing Zone 9B. So the other day I had talked to you guys about making a bread. It's super simple, super easy. You guys know that I love wonderful, easy recipes. So the first thing we're gonna do is we need 3 cups of flour. Make sure that when you put your machine together that you're using the hook, the kneading hook. All right, 3 cups of flour. I'm gonna be using the Kirkland's all-purpose organic flour. All right, so we're gonna use some Redmond's real salt. I don't think I wrote it down. I would say use about a teaspoon of Redmond's real. 1.5 cups of warm water. So I've gone ahead and gotten my warm water. You're gonna use 2 1/4 teaspoon of dry active yeast. If you have the packs, just go ahead and use the packs. All right, and I'm gonna do about a tablespoon of organic cane sugar. If you just have regular sugar, put regular sugar in there. And so I'm just gonna put it in there and I'm just gonna give it a little stir, because you want it to foam up and start getting activated. All right, so this recipe is super versatile. What I'm gonna do is, I love the Alessi's dipping spice. That's one of my favorite spices. I'm gonna go ahead and do a couple of cranks in here because I want like a really savory bread. I have some rosemary out in the garden right now. Rosemary is pretty, pretty easy to get your hands on. You can get dried rosemary. If you want to do like a rosemary bread, add some rosemary into your bread. Add a spice that you like, or you can just leave it plain. If you actually want to make like a sweet bread, you can just add, I would add probably like 3 tablespoons of sugar to this mixture. And all you're going to do is just pour your mixture in. And you're going to let it knead in your KitchenAid or whatever product that you guys have, and you're just gonna let it knead for about 3 to 5 minutes, give or take. Just make sure everything has come together. Don't over knead this bread because it's not necessary. All right, so I did the last little bit of kind of kneading to get the flour off the sides of the bowl by hand. And so I have sprayed a plastic container with organic olive oil spray. If you just want to put it in there without having to use a spray can, you can. And so all I'm going to do is just drop this here in the center of my pan. Any little bit of dried flour and stuff, I'm actually just going to kind of throw on top. Make sure I get this fairly clean, because you don't want this flour going down your sink. It will absolutely like get your sink clogged up. And so what I'm gonna do now, here's the part that takes a little bit of time, but this bread is so worth it. What I'm gonna do is I just need to let this rest for 12 to 18 hours. So my recommendation is, and what I found that works best for me as like a working person, is that I have let it go like a little bit longer. What I do is like I wait till the latest time that I can possibly make this bread before I go to bed. And I throw a towel, moist towel over the top of it, and I pop it into my oven. When I wake up in the morning, the bread will have risen, and I will pull it from the sides, and then I put the towel back over it. Then when I come home for lunch, I pull it again, and then by the time dinner's ready, I go to cook it. So my bread's really sitting for almost like a little less than 24-hour time frame. So, you know, you're sitting right at that 18, 19, 20 hours. And this bread turns out perfect. You're gonna cook it in a Dutch oven, or so that way it's got a lid to it. You know, it's gonna be great. I'm gonna walk you through that, but right now we're just gonna let it rest, and I'm just gonna pop it in the oven because it's so cool outside that there's just no way that this bread will make it on my countertop. It just won't proof correctly. So I'm gonna pop it in my oven, and then I'll bring you guys back, and I will show you what the final process looks like before we bake the bread. All right, friends, so I'm home at lunch. It is super cold. It's supposed to be really cold the rest of the week. So I got some papayas picked. So there are some papayas. I did the best I could before it really starts to get super cold. I don't want to lose those papayas. But since I'm home at lunch, I wanted to show you guys what's going to happen with this bread. You see the bread, the dough has actually risen. So all I'm going to do is just take it and pull it from the sides. It's nice and moist, and then just kind of like pull it over. And remember, we sprayed this. Of course, I'm doing some dishes. And then you just want to get some air pockets in it, basically. All right, so there was nothing on in the oven, and I just popped it back in to let it rise again. And so now it's gonna rise for, you know, another, at this point, 4 hours until 2 or 3 hours before I get home. And then we'll turn the oven on, and I will show you guys that process, and we'll put it in basically like a double broiler type situation, or a Dutch oven rather, and get it cooking. So that's how easy this bread is. Really, the biggest piece to it is going to be your time. The other thing that I have to get started today is we're going to be making some white bean chili, and basically we've soaked our white beans overnight. And now the easy part is, since I'm home at lunch, I'm just gonna pop those into a crock pot and get those started so you guys can watch that. All right, so the easiest way I do this is I've rinsed off these beans. They've been soaking. It's approximately about 2 cups of dried beans. All right, I'm gonna put a little bit of chicken broth in it. You can use vegetable broth. You can make this an entire vegan or vegetarian chili. I don't want to use too much chicken broth, but I need enough broth that this is gonna kind of come over the top of the beans. And then we try to make it as natural as possible. I'm gonna put this on low, and it's going to cook, like I said, for the next 2 or 3 hours until I come home. And that way it'll get these beans kind of going nice and good and juicy and good for our health. So I'm just gonna add some fresh tomatoes, and I've already cooked some ground turkey last night so that I could just throw this recipe today just in the crock pot. So super simple, super easy, and we'll get some chili powder and put in there, and it's gonna be delicious. I'm also gonna throw some fresh garlic in here. I think that that'll be nice and keep us healthy, especially during this cool season. All right, friends, so I am back home. And what we want to do with our bread is we want to preheat our oven with our Dutch oven in it so that it doesn't break. And we're going to preheat the oven and get it up to 450 degrees. And so I'm going to go ahead and start that now. All right, and then the next piece is I just take a piece of basically like parchment paper or whatever you feel comfortable using. And here's our dough. Remember, we pulled it at lunch, so I'm gonna just pull it again. It's got some nice, really beautiful air pockets in it. I'm just gonna kind of like flip it out onto my paper here. And then I just try to kind of keep it like as round as you want it to be. You can make a long one, you can make it however you want, and then you're just gonna skew it. So I just take a regular knife, just kind of make a little cross cut in it. You don't have to be all fancy, like X marks the spot type situation. And I just let it be. Now, if you want, you can let this rise for like another 30 minutes or so. But I usually just let it rise while the oven is warming up. My hands are sticky. And so as soon as the pot comes out, the Dutch oven, I will just take this and lift it and set it inside the Dutch oven, and then you're gonna put it back into your oven for approximately about 30 minutes, give or take. I usually do about 25 and then check it, but look at that. And that's how simple it is to just make a really good loaf. As soon as it's done, I will bring you guys back. And like I said, you know, this is something that anybody can do. You just have to have patience with it because the dough needs to rise for a long period of time, but it's so much better for you than just getting something store-bought. So I'll bring you guys back as soon as that loaf is done. All right, friends, so the loaf is done. Look at it. I literally just took it out of the oven. Is this not gorgeous? Let me tilt it. Ooh, that's hot. Friends, it's so beautiful, so gorgeous. We're gonna be having it with our stew, like our chili. I didn't have any tomato paste, so we kind of made it like a soupy type situation. But hey, there's nothing like fresh bread when you come home from a long day of work. What a beautiful blessing this is, friends. Always remember to love one another, be kind, and I cannot wait to see you guys in my next video. Thank you so much for watching and spending time with me today.